Hi everyone, my name's Charlie. I'm the co-founder of Trident Search, and welcome back to another episode of Trident Talks. This particular series is called Cyber CEO, and we're using this as an opportunity to find out what life at the top is like during 2023 and preceding years, but also give CEOs an opportunity to promote their business and just raise awareness around what they're currently doing. So, infused to welcome Anthony Young, who's the co-CEO of Bridewell. Anthony, thanks for coming. How are you doing?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Charlie. Thanks for having me along.
So, Anthony, for those that don't know you, would you like to introduce yourself in a bit more detail?
Yeah, I'll try and keep it succinct. So I'm Anthony Young, founder and co-CEO of Bridewell. We're an end-to-end cyber services business, particularly sort of focused on critical national infrastructure organisations in the UK and sort of highly regulated environments.
Awesome. Yeah, I think a lot of people kind of seen Bridewell's growth over the years. So super excited to find out, how that even began. When did it start?
So yeah, it depends how far back you want to
Let's go
go
way back.
with
Let's go
these.
way back.
Go way back with things. So yeah, I probably don't talk about my past too much, but yeah, I was son of an army brigadier, so I grew up in army bases and all around the place, and I think it was sort of drilled into me from quite an early age that I was going to go into the forces.
Yeah.
That was pretty much the path that had been picked out for me because of I think that's like we've been linked with the army for hundreds of years through our family sort of tree. So it was sort of that was the only route that was ever sort of planned out. But yeah, it wasn't really sort of the route I decided that I wanted to go into. And sort of through school and university, I was working from quite an early age. So I was picked up odd jobs and pieces sort of from 13 onwards, really, just always trying to earn some cash. I was always quite highly motivated. I was always working, always driving myself. Didn't really sort of have much time for hobbies. I just wanted to be doing bits and pieces. So through school and university, I started working for a small boutique information security company called Electronic Commerce Associates Limited, or ECA Limited. And I was just basically, it was the odd job guy. I was chucked into data centers, go under floorboards, pull cables through, all of that sort of side of things. But I've been paid a day rate. It was quite good money just to do bits and pieces and so on. And I was learning off quite a lot of people through that sort of process, and earning pretty good money through sort of say school and university. But I always wanted to just own my own business or do my own thing. And I nearly dropped out of university 2 or 3 times with different business ideas that I'd come up with, and some of them were quite extravagant or quite stupid, I suppose.
Yeah,
I came up with a nightclub in Spain. I was going to open up a nightclub in Spain. I was scouting out a location out there to open up this nightclub in Spain, which didn't go ahead, which was a very good sort of thing. I was then looking at building out a pub and bar chain through the UK. I did actually launch a bar in Bath, and did that for a couple of years and was looking to try and build out a pub and bar chain, but quickly lost all my money on that one. Quickly realized that focusing on revenue doesn't mean that you got a good business, and you really do need to be making a profit because the margins are just so small in sort of food and drink. But all of this was being funded via the work I was doing in the background on day rates, helping out doing information security work. But I hadn't really thought about doing a career in that area. I was just like, what do I want to do for myself? And I always wanted to work for myself. But after blowing on the pub all of my cash, I decided, right, I'll go full time into sort of security or information assurance, information security as it was then. I did a number of courses with CESG, so down in Cheltenham, around information assurance. I did what was BS 7799 lead auditor course. I was really sort of focusing around that governance, risk and compliance piece, and sort of went into that consulting. Did a bit of work in Gibraltar for a little while, and did some work in central government. Quite heavily involved with the ID card program with the Identity and Passport Service back in the sort of early days when before that all got sort of binned off. Yeah, and just really sort of got involved and really sort of started to enjoy sort of information security and information assurance as it was then. And then that company was quite small. It was building up quite fast. But I didn't quite see eye to eye with the person who was running the business. It felt more to me like they were really focused on, like, bums on seats consulting. How many people could we get onto a job? Not about the value. How could we really help drive things forward? And yeah, it was quite. When you look at sort of different leaders in businesses, the person who ran that business probably was the opposite of how I thought sort of a good leader should be, in terms of somebody sort of driving a business forward, and it's sort of their way or the highway with a lot of things, and it didn't quite sort of sit right with me. So I ended up leaving that company after a few years experience, and I actually didn't have a job. I thought, right, I'll go and apply for KPMG, Atos, the big names at the time, try and get some experience working within a large organization. Whilst I was interviewing for that, I was going through a recruitment company called Barclay Simpson, and got on well with the team there. And they said, why don't you come and build out the contract information security department for us at Barclay Simpson? And I sort of laughed at it, because I'd never even thought about a career in recruitment or anything in recruitment whatsoever. And then I started to think about, well, if I want to drive my own business, what are the things that I need to be able to do that? And one of the things I wanted to have was a network and good connections, really know how to sell into organizations. And I thought, right, I'll have a look at recruitment. I've bought a load of books on recruitment and DVDs and so on, and basically tried to train myself on everything around sales and recruitment I could find. And yeah, did the interviews with them, went in. I thought I'd do it probably for 1 or 2 years and then set up my own business, but ended up doing it for 5 years, really enjoyed it. And I just really enjoyed the relationship building aspect of recruitment at that point. It was with not just the contractors, but with the CIOs, the CISOs. And the bit I enjoyed was going in, working with CISOs and just listening to their problems around, like, right, we can't, we've got this project, we don't need to bring in a permanent person, but we've got this project, we need to bring in someone with these skills, we've got to get this done in 9 months. And just solutioning with them, the type of people that we could bring in to do the work, and how we would manage it, and we'd focus on getting everything done in a set time frame. So it's making it more of a sort of consultancy-based project for these organisations, but using contractors to deliver it, and really enjoyed that. And then engaging with the contract market to get the right skills and test those skills, make sure it's the right people coming through. And quickly built a good reputation of being able to get really good people in at short time scales and get these projects done and on time and manage the process. And then so ended up doing that for about 5 years, but the last sort of couple of years I just started to not enjoy it as much, because we had a lot of the big companies coming into the contract market and taking over the process, like your Hayes, your Alexander Manns and so on. And they just wanted everything through a portal. They wanted to stop the engagement with the CISOs and the CIOs, and you weren't adding any value. It was just a case of how quickly someone could put a CV on a portal against a job and doing a keyword match against it. And it was like, it wasn't worth my time sort of doing that. So that's when thought, right, there's an opportunity here for Bridewell. I can work with the CISOs I've worked with previously, and build a consultancy practice to deliver in what we were doing before. So I actually started Bridewell Consulting in partnership with Barclay Simpson at the beginning days. Brought in clients really quickly, people that I've worked with before, and CIOs, CISOs I've worked with before, and started to build that up. And quickly built a reputation again for being able to take on complex projects which other organisations had failed at or didn't want to do. And from the very beginning, we always wanted to make sure that we were always providing high quality people, really delivering above expectations on everything that we were doing, and just really building a high quality sort of name in the market. So that was 2013, and started going through there. And then 2015, Scott Scott Nicholson, who's my business partner, who's co-CEO, he came in to work on one of our big projects as a contractor, and me and him just really sort of hit it off. We already knew each other from sort of the security landscape, but we really hit it off, and we decided to bring his business, because he was running his own small sort of business then as well, bring his business into Bridewell, and he would take ownership for a lot of the delivery methodologies, the services, the technical aspects, and I'd focus on the sort of the sales and the business development side of the business. And that's when we could just really start to grow at pace, because he could really make sure the quality was there. I could go out there just really sort of pushing on sales aspects, and we just made a really sort of good team. And he was very, from the very early stages, he was like, I want to make this more than a consulting business. And, I can really see that the managed services market is somewhere that we really want to sort of get into, which he knew a lot more about. He'd come from a cloud provider. He'd worked within managed services business before, so really sort of understood that side, whereas I'd only ever worked within consulting businesses and consulting practices before. So yeah, that was, where things really started to take off, and he could do that. And we started to offer penetration testing and then managed services as well to organizations. And then we've just massively grown over the last sort of 10 years. So yeah, having started off as a company of one, we're now over sort of 230 odd people providing those full sort of end-to-end services. So that's a bit of a monologue. I've probably gone into probably more detail than you need, but
Oh, it's good.
that's pretty much the history.
Yeah. Wow. So it's really interesting to hear all of that. Obviously, we're in recruitment. I've got an ex-forces background myself. So if you were to go back now, would you go into the forces, or are you still kind of happy with your decision? Just out of curiosity.
No,
Okay.
I'm very happy with my decision. I
Yeah.
can definitely see all the real benefits that being in the forces could have given. No, whenever we're hiring people from the forces, and we're a big advocate for bringing in people from the forces, just that ability to be able to project manage, that ability to lead, that ability to communicate is like second to none, I think, in terms of sort of that quality that you get through in those areas.
Yeah.
But when I was growing up, I saw there was a lot of change through the forces, from when I was a child to when I was sort of looking at career options and so on. And yeah, just I'm not particularly good at taking orders from people, so I don't think I would sort of sit too well. I think that's one of the reasons I always thought I needed to sort of be my own boss or drive my own business. Is yeah, sort of have an innate pushback for being told what to do, and yeah, generally, I don't think I would have done too well.
Yeah, I didn't like that. So I managed 8 years, and then I just kind of grinned and bared it for the whole time. But it got to the point.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't like it from day one, and then I was like, right, okay, enough's enough. Enough's enough. But you don't fancy ever going back into recruitment? Were you like the biggest biller or anything? Or it seems like you've
Yeah,
down in terms of
yeah, no, we did really well in recruitment,
good.
and really I really enjoyed it, and would definitely look at potentially doing something else in recruitment at some stage, maybe setting up another business or something else at some stage. But yeah, no, really enjoyed it and learned so much through it. And I mean, you get this, but you're just speaking to interesting people all day and engaging conversations. It's such a great opportunity to learn from people. And yeah, I made a lot of brilliant friends that are still good friends through that process, within the security industry and within the recruitment business and so on. But I generally believe that if you can be successful in recruitment, you can be successful in any sales role. And actually, a lot of our sales team are all ex-recruiters, because I have a great belief that, in those recruiters, and the fact that they can transfer their skills into a sales market, because it's really about engaging with individuals and people. If you're going to be successful in it, you've got to have that empathy with people, be able to engage and build those relationships. And yeah, really sort of focused on our sales team to take a lot of the learnings that I took from recruitment into that sort of sales process.
It's brilliant. And I was trying to think of another word for hitting the nail on the head, but you did, because I'm a firm believer as well, and it obviously reflects in what you do now. You should be able to consult, right? You need to be able to forget the end goal, whether that's signing a client or whatever that may be, and just offer a genuine service and have that knowledge enough to be able to be like, okay, well, this is what I'm seeing, this is what I think, to actually add that value, which obviously is transpired through to Bridewell, which is great. Um,
Yeah.
what went through your head when you thought, right, I'm gonna launch Bridewell now? Were you nervous or were you excited? Talk us through that?
No, I was excited and nervous. It was also, so it was in 2013. It was also the same year I got married. So there was quite a lot going on at the time. Um, but yeah, I managed to sort of de-risk it by doing it with Barclay Simpson initially, which bought them out of the contract in 2018, as we really wanted to sort of push on at that stage. But no, really thankful for the sort of support they gave in those early days, because it's just gave a bit of a safety net behind the business at the time, when we sort of go through the growth sort of stage. But yeah, we'd always had really ambitious sort of growth plans from day one, and I remember sort of naively sort of just coming up with business plans, and so I was like, oh, I'm just going to double the business every single year, and that was sort of the target. But we pretty much managed to achieve it most years, and I was always of the feelings like it's better to have an ambitious target and slightly miss it than to have a really easy target and smash it. So that was always my way of sort of trying to drive things through, and then break everything down into really easy, sort of not easy, but manageable tasks, as it were. So rather than saying, right, how do I get from a £1 million business to a £2 million business, or a £2 million business, 4 million? It's like, right, what is it I need to do each quarter? What is it I need to do each month, each week, and just breaking it down into really achievable goals. And yeah, when you actually start to break down all your tasks like that, you realize actually no, it's very doable. It's just when you look at the bigger goal, it looks more difficult.
Yeah, reverse engineering, like having a goal. People underestimate how important that is. And I agree, you should definitely set an ambitious target and then fail, rather than something
Well, hopefully hit it.
yeah,
Hopefully hit it.
well, yeah, yeah,
But
definitely, definitely. Here would be
yeah,
great. That's the best way to do it, and have that goal, and then reverse engineer it, and then just take those steps. Because if you sit there and say, I don't know, I'm gonna, as you say, double in size, and then just not have a plan of how you're going to get there, the chances are you might not succeed in that. So, I think that's the same in all walks of life, really. Not just if you're going to find a business, whatever that may be. Actually, set yourself those goals and just reverse engineer it. So it's such a powerful thing. Um, what do you think, without giving away any kind of like secret sauce, or what do you think is the key to the success you've experienced to date?
so one of the things I learned from my dad really early on was just his work ethic.
Mm.
Like, he didn't ever stop working. And I mean, I remember, at an early age, we would go around. This was in Northern Ireland, but at Christmas and so on, we used to go visit all of the border patrols and so on Christmas Day, to make sure all the troops had
Oh,
little presents and things like that. And he was always putting everyone first, and it was always like he wouldn't stop. He'd make sure that everyone else was there, and definitely got that work ethic from him. And I always think, what would my father do in this position? What would he do to drive through? And he obviously would take holidays and breaks and so on, but he would always be thinking about the work, and how he could be doing things. And I'm very sort of similar. Like, I don't think I'm sort of the brightest person out there, the most intelligent person. There are a lot more people out there more intelligent and brighter than me, particularly in the security industry. There's lots of really amazing people out there, but no, I know I work really hard, and I can control that, and I can just make sure that I can achieve everything I sort of set out. And I'm quite obsessive when it comes to that. Whether it's in sport or in work, I get quite obsessed with my goals, and how to sort of achieve them. And we'll look at it from all angles to sort of see what's the best way to try and get it done. So yeah, that's probably one of the main things.
I don't know. It's really touching. And it's good to hear that there's people like that out there, and work ethic 100%. It's going to get you 90% of the way, right? You can have this vision, but unless you're willing to put the graft in, especially if you're going to found a business, depending on the goal, you need to be working all the time. But how do you get that balance then? How do you switch off? Do you make a conscious effort to do it, and what do you do?
Yeah, I think it's a challenge, and um, one of the things I've sort of, yeah, with this whole work-life balance, the switching off and so on, is it's difficult because it sounds really sad, but I really enjoy working. You know, people go, oh, go on holiday, I don't take my computer, don't take my laptop, and so on. I actually just enjoy sitting by the pool with my laptop and a beer, and just relaxing, but doing a bit of work. I find that relaxing, just in a different sort of setting, and I just generally enjoy work. And I've thought about retiring, doing something else, taking a step back, and so on. You always go through life plans, what you want to do, and I was just like, just don't think I'll be very good at not doing much. I like to be busy and focused and having a purpose and knowing I'm going towards something. And I enjoy the challenge of building a company that I'm proud of, and that the people that work in are proud of doing the work that they come in to do every day, and just that purpose really. And but I have, I'd say I do have two kids. I do try and switch off a bit more, spend a lot more time on the weekends now, sort of getting involved in being present for their activities and what they do. So most weekends I'm sort of a bit of a taxi service between different activities that they're doing. And that gives me sort of great joy going to watch the rugby or the swimming or whatever I'm sort of doing for them. But yeah, in the past, prior to COVID, it was always like I would go to the office and that would be work area, and then when I came home, it would be that's personal time. But I'd end up trying to work in the office till quite late. But all gets blurred when you're working from home a bit more, post sort of COVID. But no, now we're in the office a fair bit more. Now it's sort of going back to those boundaries a bit more.
Yeah, that's quite a funny story. You want to keep it separate, and then you end up taking the office home and staying in the office. So I get that, and you hit the nail again. You kind of raised a point around being present. I myself, I find that really, really hard. If I'm focused on something, I'm so dedicated on that task. If I'm at home and someone tries to speak to me, they might not get a response, or that I'm not being present to actually give them what they need. So I might be like, "Yep, no," and I've just realised I've said yes to something, which is I don't know.
Yeah, my wife has got me a few times saying, "What did I just say?" And I'm
Uh,
like,
one of my friends, he
yeah,
I'm not gonna say who, but his partner capitalized on this, and he was working and he said, "Yep, yep, 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 yep," and then she ended up booking a holiday on his credit card to like the Caribbean or something. Just
yeah. Well, that's
kind
the
of
thing, can be taken
yeah.
advantage of.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, cool. So tell us a little bit about Bridewell then. What's the offering, and what do you think makes you a little bit different? Your USPs.
Yeah, so, and I know all these organisations, when they go into USPs, a lot of them sort of don't sound like USPs at all. So forgive me now if it doesn't sound anything like it. But yeah, so I said Bridewell is end-to-end cyber services. So we don't sell any products. It's all around services. So we split it across four areas. One is classified as cybersecurity. It's sort of more sort of cybersecurity consulting, engineering, that sort of side of things. So everything from your frameworks like PCI, ISO 27001, through to auditing or cloud security engineering. Those sort of aspects sort of fits in one. We've got around about 100 people that sort of focus in that area. Then we got managed security services. So we got full managed detection and response, where we mainly are using sort of Microsoft Sentinel and Defender. We do use a few other products depending on sort of what the client's requirements are. So things like CrowdStrike and Chronicle and so on. Our teams are sort of used to as well within that space. But then we've also got our incident response team, forensics team, threat intelligence team that all sort of sit in that managed services piece as well. Then we've got penetration testing, so we're a check and Crest company for penetration testing. So do again central government and across sort of CNI in that space. And then we've got a specialised data privacy team as well. So from sort of 2018 with GDPR, we brought in specialists just to focus purely on data privacy, because there's been a lot of crossover with a lot of our clients between that data privacy and sort of the cybersecurity aspects. So that's the four areas. In terms of sort of USPs, what makes us different and so on. So, I mean, generally we are looking for people who really are passionate and really love cybersecurity. They're not doing it as a 9 to 5. These people are, living, breathing sort of cybersecurity. We're probably one of the most accredited organisations in the UK. So
Okay.
accreditations, like in terms of like all the NCSC badges, the CREST badges, Assure, all of the different areas. So we've got a lot of accreditations to back up the quality of the work that we do. And again, when we're dealing with critical national infrastructure, we've got to be able to back up our claims. So we're not going to just take our word for it and say, look, we know what we're doing. And I think that's been one of the challenges around cybersecurity as a whole across the UK is there's a lot of pop-up companies that say they do cybersecurity, or you get a lot of IT companies that try and move into cybersecurity, but you find they just do a cyber essentials and then they classify themselves as a cybersecurity expert organization, or you get IT managed services companies that say they can do cybersecurity. So there's this whole market where it's quite difficult for a lot of buyers to know who to actually buy from. So that's sort of the accreditation piece, because one of the problems with being in cybersecurity, it's quite difficult to get companies to provide case studies and references and so on, because they don't want to publicly disclose, who they're working with on sort of cybersecurity projects, or the fact that maybe their cybersecurity wasn't up to scratch a couple of years ago and they've needed to bring someone to bring it up to speed. So that's sort of one of the areas there.
Nice.
And then another area is our investment in our people. Everyone in the company gets a £5,000 a year training budget. We really do care about continual professional development, and we really push that on. We believe in finding really good people who are passionate and then enabling them to continually get better and better. So we want them to keep on sort of growing, because that adds benefit to us. It adds benefit to our customers. Negative is that then we become a bit of a poaching ground for other organisations, but hopefully the majority of people are pretty happy, and they don't want to leave, because they know that they're going to be continually invested in and growing through. And we've had a lot of people that have been with the business for over 5 years and really been part of that journey, and we want people to stay as long as possible within the business. And then another aspect is that the skills piece. We've got a lot of people with operational technology skills, that cloud security, deep expertise, security engineering, and all of them are working together, provide that sort of real, good holistic approach to our customers. And then we've also got our own platform, which is called Cybiquity, which we built in-house, that supports and provides added value to our customers in terms of what we're delivering to them. So it's split across our consulting as well as our managed services side of things. So as a CISO or a head of IT, you can see all of the incidents that happen within your estate. You can speak directly to the analysts straight through your platform. You can see all of the history through it, but you can also go in to say, look, what's all of my risks across my supplier ecosystem? You can see all your suppliers, you can see all the risks, you can manage it all through there. So it's all driven via our people, but it's being, giving them the information, the dashboards that they can then use for board reporting or taking to particular customers or so on, if they need to be able to demonstrate sort of security compliance. So there's a few different things, but I would say probably maybe the major one is that it's this genuine care for our customers, in terms of if something isn't going 100% right, or something isn't feeling 100% right, that's what gives me a sleepless night. I want 100% customer satisfaction. I want every customer to be singing our praises and to love engaging with us. And it's not about how much money we're making as a business. I'm always a great believer that as long as we're delivering a fantastic service and our customers are happy and they're advocates for what we do, the money will just come later on. It's about making sure our service is the best it can be, and that all of our consultants, our analysts, our engineers are putting the customer first, and that's the most important piece, really.
It's brilliant. I think we're running out of time now, but the good thing about it is the people. If you mentioned you've become a bit of a poaching ground, but if they've got that exposure, especially within security, that exposure, that investment from the business, and they enjoy adding that value, you'd like to think the culture you're creating creates some kind of longevity there. But then also, if like me, the value you want to add to your clients, the worst thing for me is if we get any form of negative feedback, whether that's been for like miscommunication or misunderstanding. I, like yourself, have sleepless nights about it. All we want to do is offer that genuine value-led service.
Yeah.
So sounds like you guys are doing amazing things. And I'm sure there's going to be lots of people reaching out who kind of got any questions on the back of this. But in a closing note, in 60 seconds, can you give any advice to anyone who's either wants to be in a CEO position or found their own business?
Like, don't go into it thinking it's easy. I've spoken to so many people who think in cybersecurity, because it's a hot market, it's really easy. You just need to set up a company and set up a website, and that will be it. You have to work hard at it. You need to build those relationships. And, some of these relationships I've been building on for 10, 12, 13 years. It doesn't happen overnight. And it's a trust business, and people have to build that level of trust. So if you're going to do it, work hard and focus on the long game, not the short game.
Okay, perfect. Some really good advice there. But Anthony, thanks so much for taking part. Absolute pleasure to catch up as always. And I'm sure if anyone's got any questions, you'll be happy for them to reach out.
Yeah, that's fine. No worries at all.
Right. Speak to you soon. Take care.
Right. Cheers, Charlie. Take care.